when I think about the manosphere, I think one thing that makes the black manosphere different than the rest of the manosphere is the black manosphere is also providing like fathership, you know, like it's a lot of the content is geared towards you know, a significant portion of the black community, they didn't know their dad. They didn't have a relationship with their dad, right? And so a lot of the information is information that it's either men that didn't have a relationship with their father, that have realized that they have a lot of holes. They have tried to patch those holes in, and they're spreading the gospel of, you know, or it's men that did have that relationship with their father, and they are trying to impart that where it's needed. So it's a mixture of these things. It's about, you know, advice about talking to women, about, you know, leveling up and getting yourself together so that you can get the kind of woman that you want. You know, it's acknowledging, you know, that the experiences that you've had, you're not the only one that have had those experiences. You know, you're not some kind of scumbucket because, you know, these women keep doing certain kinds of things. You know, but here are some ways that you can avoid those circumstances in the future. And, you know, a lot of this kind of information is it's kind of like the stuff that you would get from your dad or maybe from your uncle or something. And in that way, I think it has totally taken over the role, in many ways, the role of the black church, because the black church is designed in such a way, the church is designed in such a way that orphans have a home, they have a father, they have a mother. The church takes them in. The church is their family, right? And I think a lot, you know, because there is this sort of natural dip. There's a natural dip where black, all men, you know, or it's all young people that sort of disappear from the church, right? From church. Now, part of it is caused by going away to college. Then you learn a bunch of stuff. You learn to, you know, question a lot of the stuff that you learned when you were a kid. And if these liberal bastions, you know, of education, if they're successful in any way, then probably for a few more years after college, you probably still won't be going to church, right? So then, okay, now it's time to get married. Okay, you do get married. Maybe church was a good thing to do. So then, you know, you start seeing people come back, right? But what's happening, you know, in our community is often, basically, once black men leave, you know, they go away to college, they don't come back. And, you know, you go to a lot of black churches and there's hardly any men in the churches. It's almost all women, right? And so, so you can see why this black manosphere, I think it's really has taken off the way that it has, because it's really trying to solve an issue that it doesn't even realize is there, right? So there's that. And another thing that I notice about the manosphere in general is I see certain narratives playing out. Or narrative isn't not the word I want. I see certain, there's a hunger for spirituality, right? And when I hear Solo TV 84, for instance, talk about the whole NoFap thing, the whole journey that he's been on with that, and some of the spiritual implications, and he had another content creator come on and was talking about the spiritual high value man and all of this. So I see that, and then I also see people like Roosh V. Mm-hmm. Now Roosh is Orthodox, right? So Roosh V, actually, he's got a book that you can buy on Amazon right now. Maybe I shouldn't tell people this, called Day Bang, right? And he was central to the PUA, pickup artists, for people that don't know what that is. He was central in that. And he ran as far as he could away from God, and then was slingshotted back into it, right? And he's serious too. He's I mean, he's got the whole beard. He's going to monasteries and stuff. I mean, he's got a cross while he's on his what is his Roosh? What is it? Roosh hour or something? I can't remember what's called now, but he's got like a live stream on YouTube still, and he still has a lot of subscribers. I mean, he's got like an icon of Jesus. I mean, and he's talking about he talks about politics, but as it relates to Christianity. I mean, it's like a kind of like a crazy thing to notice or to see, right? And Donovan Sharp, he came out of Roosh V, right? That was one of his initial employers. I mean, he paid him to write articles, and then O'Shea, who he talks frequently about his Christianity, him growing up in the church, and how that's that's part of his life and everything. Kevin Samuels. So you say, so I'm seeing like this interesting, this is not just about picking up girls. It may start there, but then it ends up leading, if you take all the logical steps and notice things and are inquisitive, it seems like it still leads to the same thing. It's very interesting.
That is, when you put it that way, that last sentence there, because I've always had the question about why the inherent or implied conservatism, why the implied spirituality, so on and so forth. And then the way you talked about right now, where it's like, some people come into it like, okay, I'm going to learn how to chase girls, and then they end up in the church. That's very
right. Well, maybe they don't end up in church, but they or at least they get opened up in this sort of spiritual way. And I don't know that all of the dots have been, and all of the T's crossed, and I don't know if they follow the trail completely, but I just find it very fascinating. That's something that could seem so almost like hedonistic, could if followed with religiously followed, would somehow even be possible to transform into something so transcendent. Wow. It's just